She took the mystery out of French cooking and brought it into our kitchens. My tribute to the food, the chef, and the personality that was Julia Child today on SoFlo Taste. This is South Florida. It's where I live and work. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. South Florida is more than sun, sand, and sea. It's a lifestyle of fashion, sound, culture, and of course, food. Food with taste from all over the world. Join me as we celebrate the food of South Florida and the people who love it. Join me as we experience SoFlo Taste.
We're having a cheese and wine party today on the French Chef.
Hello, I'm Michelle Bernstein, and that's the way she opened her TV show, The French Chef, every week for a decade. Julia Child was one of the original TV celebrity chefs and herself a true original. So with the anniversary of her birthday coming up, August 15th, I wanted to honor her with some of her own recipes. I hope I do them and her justice. So let's get cooking. The first recipe I'm going to do today is French onion soup. The cheese, I think, being the strongest flavor profile of the soup. I think that's probably why we all get the soup in the first place. The really most important part of making this soup are the onions, to properly caramelize an onion. And the only thing that takes is patience. So here's what we need to do. We're going to take a little bit of butter. By the way, I took her recipes and you know, we found little shortcuts along the way to substitute. So I'm adding butter and oil to a pan. It's a lot of onions and they shrink down to like nothing. So put that into your pot. Once these start to cook down, literally they'll shrink about 75% of the way down. The way to cook them is to put them on about a medium heat, cover them, and let them go. Every 5 minutes, I'd say, open it up, stir it around, cover it again. These took me 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. And what you want is soft, translucent onions, which we have here. Let me show you in a sec. They just are starting to caramelize. And can you believe all those onions shrunk down to this? It's crazy. So to help the caramelization process a little bit, first of all, they have to be uncovered, and you're gonna add the tiniest bit of sugar and a heavy pinch of salt to give them the flavor. You want your temperature on the covered onions to be a nice low, medium low temperature. Keep it covered and keep it going, okay? Until they're totally see-through and just meltingly soft. The broth or stock needed in making the proper traditional onion soup is beef broth. So you can buy it. Make sure that you buy one that's unsalted. I'm gonna go ahead and add our flour to make a roux inside those onions and to be the only thickener of this soup. And you wanna really work that in until all of that flour has been worked into the onions. And then we'll add just the first cup of beef broth. That's just a start. And what we're doing is we're mixing that nonstop until it all comes together and the flour is finally mixed into the broth, and that will start the thickening process. And this is just starting to thicken, so now it's time to add the rest of our liquid. So a few more cups of beef broth. Some good drinkable white wine. Nice dry white wine. I use basically the same wines that I like to drink in my cooking, as Julia always did. You always saw her drink a good glass of wine as she was cooking and using whatever wine it was that she was sipping on for her recipes. A couple things that she added was some dried sage. A couple things that I added to mine was some fresh thyme sprigs that we just tied together with a little piece of string. Throw that in there. A bay leaf. And what I really wanted was some flavor of the cheese. So I don't know about you all, I always have Parmesan cheese at my house to grate over my kids' pasta. So I took the rind from my Parmesan cheese and I threw a piece in there for flavor. And this cooks, it says about half an hour. I let mine go for a good 45 minutes. So this is what it looked like after 45 minutes. So here's my soup, and I still haven't taken out the bay leaf, which is right here. I didn't take out the thyme. Make sure you take this out before serving the soup. And the finishing touches of the soup are a little bit of raw grated onion and cognac. So go ahead and grate that right into your soup. And then finally, some cognac for the end. I love cracked black pepper, so I like a nice amount of cracked black pepper in my French onion soup. Check your salt. You're gonna want a nice amount of salt, but don't forget, you're getting a lot of cheese on the top of your soup. So we actually went out and got tête de lion, which is the traditional French onion soup bowl. Has the little lion head, that's the tête de lion. So I'm gonna go ahead and ladle some soup into the lion's heads. And by the way, we lined, as you can see, our sheet pan with some foil because I'm gonna put a lot of cheese on this. All right, so let's take a look at our toast. Perfect, good and crispy. This is really, that's what you want, nice and crispy. So I'm gonna try to fit a couple pieces on here. I think I'll do 2 pieces of bread, one to soak down and one to be on the top. And instead of doing one type of cheese, which is usually Swiss, you can use Gruyere, Fontina, I'm actually doing 2. We're doing Swiss and we're doing a little Parmesan. The Parmesan doesn't melt as well, so I'm gonna go Parmesan first. I mean, it melts beautifully, but not as well as Swiss does. So the Parm is really, to me, for flavor. And then the Swiss on top for the meltability. Okay. So we have the broiler set at kind of a medium broil. You don't want a high broil because we don't want this to burn. So when you come back, that should be melted and bubbling and hopefully delicious as it smells. We'll see you in a minute. SoFlo Taste will return right after this.